And now, a Dice Tower digital review with Brian Hoier.
Hi, and welcome to another Dice Tower iOS game review. My name is Brian Hoier, and this week we're going to be taking a look at a very popular co-op game set in ancient China called Ghost Stories. Now, how does this game carry over to the iPad? How does it play? Well, let's take a look and find out. Here's your main menu for Ghost Stories. Very basic. You've got your new game option. You can read over the rules. Now, I'll warn you right now that when you click on rules, there are... each one of these dots is a different page. Now, I don't know if you can see them all, but there are over 30 pages of rules explaining what every little symbol does. So I'm not going to go too horribly in-depth on the review on every symbol, because this could easily be a half-hour review. But you will want to read the rules in advance to make sure you're familiar with every little symbol and what they do and how the game plays out, because it's actually a very, very complicated game. If you do information, just information about what version this is and the company. The options are basic, turning the sound off or on. You can speed up or slow down the animations to make the game play a little quicker. And then you can confirm the neutral board's turn, off or on. And that's it. Otherwise, it's time to jump into a new game. Okay, so it's time to configure the game and get it set up before we play. It can go up to 4 players, which, as you know from my reviews, I'm a big fan of. You can lay it down tabletop style, which I'm also a big fan of. You don't have to pass and play. Everybody can watch the game as it happens. And so I set up 4 players. You got Joe, myself, Larry, Patrick. You can control the difficulty. I would recommend for your first few games, go on initiation and slowly ramp up the difficulty from there. You will lose this game, and probably quite often, even if you play it single player, 2 player, it doesn't matter. It is a difficult game, and the board is out to get you. So you click down here to continue on to the next screen. And now here's where you can kind of configure the board itself. You can move your player boards. There's the yellow, the blue, the red, the green, by just clicking on it and then dragging it over, and it'll flip and swap them for you, which is kind of nice because, you know, that way you're not locked into where you have to sit, and it can affect gameplay a little bit. You can also change the layout of the village or the 9 tiles of the board itself by dragging and dropping and moving those around. So now we continue on, and the game will begin. Now, the storyline behind this game, Ghost Stories, is that you are these 4 Taoist monks here with mystical powers, the red, the green, the blue, the yellow, and you each have your player board around the outside, which we've discussed already. But you are sworn to protect this ancient Chinese village because somewhere in the village, in the cemetery, Wu Fang, which I believe is the leader of the 9 hells or something according to the mythology here, has died, and his ashes are being hidden in the village. And there are demons that want to come back and steal those ashes and bring about his reign again and evil things, etc., etc. So, on each turn it says, a new ghost must enter play. So you tap the draw pile, and they conveniently highlight it in green so you can't miss it. The monster comes up. If it is a red monster, it needs to be played on the red person's tile, which means it's going to invade the village from this side. And you can choose which one you want to put it into. So I'll click over here and bring him down there. And then it says now you can move, or you can pass it if you don't want to move. So I will move over here. And then you can try to attack the beast. So again, you can move 1 square per turn. I moved 1 square over to face this demon. And basically you'll notice on each square, or each part of the village, there's a different villager. And these little symbols down here are some bonuses they can give you. And this one's highlighted in white, meaning I can tap on that if I want to use his bonus to help me this round. I can tap on the sword that's on the beast. If you're adjacent to a monster or a demon, you can attack and fight it, which will require some dice rolling. We'll get to that in a second. And if you're in a corner like this and there was a monster here and here, you can actually fight 2 monsters at once, which is also nice. But you have to be adjacent to the monster. The nice thing is at any point in the game, you can click on this little magnifying glass, and then it'll highlight the things you can get a closer look at. I want to look at this monster a little more closely. This top number in the upper left-hand corner, the number 4, that is his strength or whatever. I need to beat him. Down here, they can have up to a row of 3 symbols. If there was a symbol on the left, which there isn't, that symbol takes place immediately when the demon first comes onto the board. Its first time when it arrives at the village. Any in the middle apply to every turn for that demon throughout, as long as it's on the board and in play. And then this last one over here, that number 2, that goofy symbol, that applies when he is beaten or defeated. It's like a bonus that you get. In this case, it says your reward would be when this ghost is exercised, the player receives 2 Tau tokens from the reserve. And you can use Tau tokens to add to your strength or whatever. If you don't quite have enough to beat them, you can spend a Tau token to bring it up and defeat them. Alright, so you click the check mark to X out of that. And again, I can use his powers, I can spend Tau tokens to defeat him, or I can click on the sword and battle him. So, I click go to roll my dice. Alright, I have 2 red dice to attack him with. White would be like a wild, I could add to him. So you drag dice down that you can use to defeat him. As you can see, I only rolled 2 out of 4. I don't have enough to defeat him. Up here are any tokens I could use. So you can see these don't apply. They're not going to help me out. So I have to click on the green check mark, and I did not defeat the beast. I can now end my turn, and then it would pass on to the next person. They'll do the same. They'll draw a new demon. Needs to be played on the blue board. For instance, I'll put him right here in this corner. Now, if you recall, I said that the symbols on the bottom of the ghost have different effects. The one on the left happens immediately when it comes into play, and this symbol means when this ghost enters play, it calls another ghost from the draw pile. So I have to play another demon. Like I said, this game is out to get you, and it will just relentlessly throw animals and beasts at you, constantly attacking the village. And another blue, so this side is getting filled up rather quickly. Then we go on to the next phase of the player would, move somewhere in the village, and then they could use the villagers' bonuses. They can try to attack one of these demons that they're next to, etc. And it goes around like that as they slowly come into the village and try to take it over and, well, probably beat you. So, final thoughts on ghost stories. I have to say, one thing that really stands out to me is the theme. The whole ancient China, the beasts coming from hell to, I guess, reclaim their ruler, the Taoist monks and all the special powers and the mysticism about it. Very unique. You don't see that a lot, so the theme alone kind of grabs you. And then they have really, really good artwork that kind of brings it all to life. Very colorful board, as you saw, and nice sound effects. The one drawback I would say was some of the demons, as you get more into the game, are kind of, gruesome or creepy looking, with some goofy, creepy sound effects too when the card pops up on the screen. Nothing horrible, obviously, because it is just a little digital board game, but probably not for smaller children. Keep that in mind. But I'd say anybody 9, 10 and up, no problem. Okay, it's a fun game. There's a little bit of randomness and luck with the dice rolling. There's definitely a lot of strategy about coordinating with your other fellow players where you're going to go on the board, who's going to attack what, etc. But it is very, very difficult. I can't stress that enough. You feel like you've really accomplished something when you win. It was tough to win, and you'll have those great moments where you're all like high-fiving each other, like, I can't believe we pulled that off at the last second, etc. So, obviously I really like the game. If I had to give it a score on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing, I'd say it's probably an 8. It's really well implemented, and it wasn't originally 4 players, but they've updated it since, and it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 player game. You can play it solo. It plays fairly quickly, and again, great graphics and artwork, so I give this an 8 out of 10. As always, you can check out more of our reviews on thedicetower.com. And also, please check us out. My brother and I and some friends have put together another website called meeplesonmeeples.com. They both end with S, Meeples on Meeples. Check us out on Facebook, like us, and basically have a game of the week every week. We'd love you to follow us and play along with us and share your thoughts on our game of the week. And follow us on Twitter, too, Meeples on Meeple.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.